Teaching log number 12. Today I am planning on talking a little bit more about description, scene, and narrative. My students should have done their word picture exercise. The prompt kind of did change a little bit, so that's definitely something I do need to revise, make comments on for that activity and the progression overall. But I'm planning on starting off the class with another free write and have my students kind of create a plot diagram of an activity in their life that they're okay sharing, because I want them to work on this event and kind of elaborate on it a little bit more. So it's a narrative. They're writing their narrative. So the free write is, what is the narrative? What details do you provide? And then kind of apply that to an event. And then I'm going to discuss a little bit more about a literacy, a narrative, and then mention how does a narrative, the word picture activity and scene kind of play together. And I found this really great video where it talks about like, not object and scenes, but like how an object interacts with the scene and how the scene is, like, what the relationship is between that through WALL-E. And it was beautiful. I loved it. I'm going to show it to my students because it's a video essay. So this is going to actually help them kind of figure out what it is that they need to do. Like how does this object or this picture that they described play in this scene? So if they pick the movie poster, which I said is okay, they have to kind of elaborate more. So you only get like this much of a movie poster. Now you have to create the world around it. Or if you've seen it, then play with the possibilities of what would happen in that environment. And then I'm going to go over storytelling, and like good storytelling and then bad storytelling. A good story kind of provides you the details without being repetitive and not without providing redundant elements. So an example of a bad story is actually from the film Ant-Man, and it's funny. It's like it's just hysterical. I'll link the two videos that I'm talking about in the description below. And this video is basically going to be an example for my students of what not to do in your story. And then we're going to actually refer to a reading in the class that they should have done in the past, and have them get into groups and identify some of the key elements of a storytelling, so like character, plot, setting, scene, and like description, those kind, like little details like that. And I want them to identify it, and I also want them to start applying the rhetorical methods such as ethos, pathos, and logos. Most of these stories have more pathos, so they're trying to connect to you emotionally by foreshadowing, things like that. So I'm gonna try to get them to incorporate these little details, but I'm interested to see how this class goes. I'm also being observed again, but this time by a peer. So I'm not that scared about it today, and I have a game plan which I'm really excited about today. So until next time, until I come back, I am definitely going to have a story to tell after this. All right, ta for now. I'm back. Today we talked a little bit more about scene and the activity of scene, and I started talking more about their essay, the narrative essay. I showed them a video essay of WALL-E and how the object of WALL-E plays a role in the scene of the world and the spaceship, things like that. And it was actually, I kind of wish I saw this earlier so I could revise my prompt. I already gave them the prompt, and it's already supposed to be like 3 pages, and I can sense the confusion within my students, and I kind of feel bad about that. But again, it's a mistake on my part. I should have done a little bit more research ahead of time. But it was great. I did
break my students into groups where 2 groups talked about the Sleeping Beauty tales, and kind of identified character, dialogue, setting, scene, the plot. And then I also broke 2 groups of my students did a story entitled The Birthday Party from Hell, which the title kind of foreshadows what's going to happen. And the last one was like A Nice Cup of Queer, which is more an observation of a scene, but I think it was a really good activity anyways. It talked about like telling a story, like the narrative, and like how many details are too many details and what's a bad example of a detail. And they laughed when I gave them the example of it because it's such a short clip from Ant-Man, but it's like the person telling the story is like, oh, and then this and this and this, and then the person listening to the story is like, wait, there's way too many details, like come back. I should be hopefully expecting a student soon, but we'll see what happens. Ta for now.